Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Justin Trudeau's new sneaky tax that he has been working on. Not good time. So let's jump into this. So first we've got this here, an interesting graph. It shows the combined statutory marginal income tax rate at $150,000 in Canadian provinces and US states 2023. So this is basically your total tax. And if you notice, all the red ones are Canada. And all the blue ones are America, and this is ranked from highest to lowest. So yeah, Canada's the highest. Quebec, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, Manitoba, New Brunswick, British Columbia, Saskatchewan. Alberta is the lowest in Canada at 38%. And the highest in America is 33% in California, and from there it just goes down. And at the bottom here, we got Wyoming, Washington, Texas, Tennessee, South Dakota, New Hampshire, Nevada, Florida, and Alaska at 24% tax. Speaking of tax, Justin Trudeau, his Liberal government, has been paying different organizations to do some studies and testing things out on adding a new tax onto housing, specifically on houses over $1 million. Now, before we get into that, let's look at this chart we've got here. It says Toronto rents versus mortgage payments since 2008. So we can see here they were the same, and then they start to diverge. The mortgages and payments here is in red, the rent is in blue. And as we go through the years here, it bounces around. Justin Trudeau gets into power right here, and you can see things change a little bit with Trudeau in power. And then we have the world event that happens right there with this. You can see here in this gray bar. This one here says inflation. And yeah, so that's where we're so just to freeze frame it at the end there. Yeah, so there's a big divergence here between mortgage payment and rent now. And a lot of people are defaulting on their mortgages. Housing prices have gone through the roof. So what have the Trudeau Liberals decided as a way to potentially bring in some more money? This is likely something that will be rolled out in 2025 because they're doing the testing on it. It seems like that's what their plan is. It's this here, posted by Table Salt. It says the Trudeau Hail Mary is coming 2025, a principal home equity surtax on homes valued over $1 million. The numbers have already been drawn up by the CMHC backed organization. So that's the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, which is a Canadian Crown corporation. So this company, they have been a funder of the Generation Squeeze, which is some organization that was working on some of these numbers. They're also funded by the Canadian Public Safety Sector, some other organization, another government organization. So if we look at this, so we've got home value here, 1 to 1.5 million, 1.5 to 2, and 2 plus. And then the percentages of Canadian households of that value, and it says 9% are basically 1 million or more. 1.3 million homes are in this category, and basically all said and done, it would bring in $4.54 billion of revenue, basically adding a tax per category, which is deferrable. Now, if you're not familiar, deferrable, basically you can just defer that until you sell your house or you die, and then it gets taken off of your house. So you'd have to, it gets paid out of that, but it's still taking your money. It's, you pass your house on to your kid, or you sell it or whatever, then that money gets taken off, and then your kid gets paid out that money or whatever. So you can see here, this really ramps up to $1.5 to $2 million house. You're now paying an annual, this is average annual payment of $2,118, and over $2 million is $14,000. So this is essentially a property tax, but a federal property tax, which is crazy. It's another tax. If we look at the bottom here, it has some different values, which you guys can see on the screen here. Instead of 0.2% surtax, in this lower bracket, they went with 0.5, and that would generate $5.83 billion. Now, if we think about what the Trudeau Liberals are spending money on, sure, generating $5.8 billion is a lot, but they're giving away billions to Honda and Stellantis, and these are just companies getting billions of dollars. If they just didn't give away all of that money to even one of these companies, Toyota or whatever, you wouldn't even have to have this tax. If they just stopped giving money to all these big companies and let them just make money on their own and cut taxes and make it more inviting for them to come here and set up a business, we wouldn't need taxes on people's houses to fund the stupid stuff. It's ridiculous. So basically what Trudeau and the Liberals are doing here is they're trying to absolutely eliminate the middle class and they're taxing the hell out of the upper class with this tax. It's like they're trying to push all of us into poverty, basically. If we go into the next slide here, we've got this one. It shows rising home values drive unaffordable for some, creating wealth for others by region. And we can see here on the side, Metro Vancouver and GTA are at the top here. We've got BC, Ontario, Canada as a whole is this orange line, and then Quebec and all the other ones down here. This should come as no surprise to anyone, as the housing values in especially these two areas, Greater Toronto and Metro Vancouver, are the highest. This is where most of their taxes are coming from. If we look back at that other slide, I find it really hard to believe that there's only 1.3 million homes that would fit into this. Because in Vancouver alone, there's like 2.5 million people that live there in Greater Vancouver. And that includes all the surrounding areas. And a lot of those surrounding areas, even down Surrey, is over $1 million for home. I think even Chilliwack is $1 million for home. So if you think about how many homes there are, sure, there's a bunch of condos and stuff. There's got to be at least 1 million homes, if not like 750,000 at least, in Greater Vancouver that would go into this number. So if Toronto had the same amount, it would still be high. Like, I don't think these numbers are right, but whatever. We're moving on here. We got this one. It says housing inflation and consumer price index change per year. So we got average housing prices, a consumer price index, and you can see, yeah, it went to the moon here. We've got this one. It says implementing a modest surtax paid by Canadians who own homes valued above $1 million. So this is what we're talking about. And they're asking people, do you think this is good or bad? They're surveyed. 32% of people they surveyed said moderately support. These have got to be all the people who don't have homes in that price. That's what that really is. People who don't own homes or renting. Same with the 27%, probably renters. So yeah, sure, I support that. And then all these ones strongly oppose. These are the people who own the homes. If they push this through, it's going to make people go nuclear, because it's like you're adding another property tax. It's just outrageous. And just imagine you bought a house in Vancouver for whatever, $300,000 or $400,000 20 years ago. And now that $2 million house is coming in, you have to pay your property taxes. In Vancouver is very expensive. And say whatever your property tax is, say it's $8,000 or something. I don't know what it would be. But say then you have to pay the federal one of, what was it, 14 grand? So you have to pay like 20 something grand for your property taxes, but your pay didn't go up. Your house went up a bunch in value, but nothing else changed. These people won't be able to afford this. They have to sell their houses and move. And like it's ridiculous. The government is just full of a bunch of losers. They're just trying to hurt us as bad as they can. We got this one posted here by Franco from the Taxpayer Federation.
Welcome to Canada, folks, where you pay a federal interest or you pay a federal sales tax just to cover the interest charges on the Trudeau government credit card. But here's another element of this, right? Like the government is claiming that they want the so-called rich to pay more. Well, if you want the rich to pay more, how about you just make rich multinational corporations pay for their own factories, right? The tens of billions of dollars that the federal government has given to the boardrooms of Germany and Japan, right? The billions of dollars to Volkswagen, Stellantis, you got Northvolt, you got Honda. In fact, I believe it was 2022, the federal government spent like $11 billion on corporate welfare, which is more money than what they're going to be bringing in this year in the capital gains tax hike.
Just think about that. More than the capital gains tax hike. Plus you got with the $4 billion if they add this federal housing tax. Like, they just need to stop giving away our money to big companies. I wonder how many friends Trudeau has in those companies, in Honda and Northvolt and Stellantis and all these companies. Something to think about. Especially when Ford and GM, who we gave money to, basically have pushed their start date back at least 2 years. Yeah, we give them money and then they don't follow through, while 3,000 plus automotive jobs are on hold. It's about tearing down middle-class old stock boomers and their prodigy. How about making our politicians pay taxes? Now we've got this clip here from Michael Cooper. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government is the most corrupt in modern Canadian history. Multiple ministers found guilty of breaking ethics laws.
We have a government that has a history of entitlement, patronage, and straight up corruption. This is the most corrupt government in modern Canadian history. And I saw one Liberal member thought that thinks it's funny, but we have Dominic LeBlanc found guilty of breaching the Conflict of Interest Act. He's a senior minister in this government. We have Mary Ng, who's found guilty of breaching the Conflict of Interest Act. She's a senior minister in this government. We have Bill Morneau, who's found guilty of breaching multiple sections of the Conflict of Interest Act. He was the finance minister in this government. We have a former member of this committee, if you can believe it, who was found guilty, a Liberal member, who was found guilty of violating the Conflict of Interest Act. And then we have the Prime Minister himself, the first Prime Minister in Canadian history to be found guilty of violating the Conflict of Interest Act. And he was found guilty not once, but twice. There is this culture of corruption within this government. And it starts at the top. The corruption starts at the top, and it starts with the Prime Minister. I have no doubt that the culture that we have seen is a direct result of what the standard that he has set.
This is so true. I mean, leaders set the standard, and even like same with kids. Kids will just look at what their parents do, and that's how they learn things. It's the same thing with leaders in companies. People always look to, does a leader get in there and is working till midnight to get the project done? Or they say, hey, you guys get it done, I'm going home. It's the same thing here. Justin Trudeau is a scumbag and a loser, and he's a scandalous, corrupt prime minister, and people are learning from it. And like the Canadian population too. I mean, just think how many Canadians are like, oh, why bother paying taxes? Trudeau's stealing money. Like it's setting a standard across this country. Why do anything proper? Why do anything right? Why bother? It's like the restaurants who sell their food and then take cash. They don't claim that money as income to save some, so like that kind of thing. You're going to inflate that stuff a lot more. If the guy at the top has got scandals and corruption himself, why would anyone else try to live by a code, a creed of honesty? A treason list that likely includes the PM. Yeah, probably. No, don't send them back and jail them. Maybe if the RCMP actually did their job for once, these traitors would be named and jailed. Yeah. We got this clip here posted by Josh Ryan of Justin Trudeau going for a run. It's interesting. He says, Trudeau putting on a stage performance in DC, swings his legs slowly and ever so elegantly out of his limo and walks in his squeaky new expensive runners to the sidewalk, pretending he doesn't see the cameras, then trots off, eye roll. Looks like he still has that fake First Nations tattoo on his shoulder. Right here, yeah, he still has that fake First Nations tattoo, which was pointed out in the boxing match. This guy is just such a, the way he walks too is just, ugh. He's just such a weak little guy. I mean, too, he's pretending he doesn't see the camera. Like he gets one glance, but okay, oh good, somebody record me at my best moves. Imagine this is how much effort. Like, look, this is all shut down. There's cop car. It's all blocked off in DC here so Trudeau can go for a run. Like, can he go to a gym that's got a track in it and just do that? Like, can he go into the president's grounds or whatever, Camp David, go for a run? Like, this just seems over the top and waste of money. Someone linked this video from 8 years ago of Trudeau running. It says he runs like a girl. It's interesting if you look at the leg placement. This guy, yeah, runs like a man. Trudeau does not. The way his hips and his feet swing. Doesn't look fit whatsoever. Flabby arms, pale, no knee muscles, dyed hair. Looks like someone's trying to pretend he's fit and young. Where's his wife? We got a post here in Wall Street Silver of someone struggling.
My husband and I sat in silence in our poorness for a moment or two. And then I finally asked him, where are we overspending? We don't go out to eat. We don't do DoorDash. We pulled our kids from daycare. We canceled our gym membership. We buy frugal groceries. We don't go shopping. I did get LASIK. So that was a mistake, but honestly, my headaches are gone. So it's kind of worth it. But then our septic went out. We spent $600 on 2 separate occasions getting it pumped, but it just needs to replace. So that's $3,500. And I'm just like, how are you working 60 hours a week? I have passive income. We're not buying things. Anyway, what I learned is that we actually are not overspending. We just cannot afford anything. And that is a very sad truth. Like, I don't know where we could cut costs. I literally do not know where we could cut costs.
That's the sad state of Canada right now. Everything's too expensive because of Justin Trudeau. Nothing is affordable anymore. Every minor home repair feels like a financial crisis. People are hurting. That's how bad our economy is. Must be Starbucks coffee. By making your own coffee, save $85K a year. That's the key, right? Coffee. Maybe it's that Disney Plus. Jumping over to my group, let's check out the memes today. So we got this posted, which I thought was pretty interesting. It says, waiting your turn, Canadian healthcare wait times in 2023. Now, initially, I was looking at this. You can see blue here is what they were in 1993, and then the orange here is 2023. I was wondering, it says 10.4, 10.5, 9.8 versus 27. I was thinking, is that weeks or years? So this is weeks. You can see down here in weeks. Over here, it's over a year wait for some of these places, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI. Crazy. This is our healthcare system breaking. It's okay to be heterosexual, supporting heterosexuality while it's still legal. I feed you bullcrap. Is it really hard to decide who to support? Disney Studios is making a movie about a transgender whale. They're calling it Maybe Dick. So if you're not aware, KFC is like going halal now or whatever for most of Ontario, whatever minus Ottawa, Thunder Bay, I think. This is hilarious. Communist Wuhan wet bat. This is hilarious. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. Let me know what you guys think about Justin Trudeau potentially bringing this new tax in 2025 that puts an extra tax if you have a more expensive house, over $1 million, over $2 million. An added tax, a federal property tax, is absolutely ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's just another way of punishing Canadians. No one has any incentive in this country to work hard and get ahead. The only incentive is to move all of your money, your assets, everything out of Canada into somewhere else where it's not taxed into oblivion. But share your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up. Hit that notification bell. Get notified of all my videos. Big thanks to all the channel members and all the people donating. We're going to keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one.